So we are very excited to talk to the band, and I mean, without any further ado, let's see the people you are here for, right? So welcome to Parkway Drive.
Oh my God, we're on stage again.
Hello, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
It's been a while. Hi.
It's been a bit, right? It's been 3 years.
3 years.
Not only since you've been over here, but also since you played your last actual tour, right?
Yeah.
And the first proper tour since 2019 is starting tomorrow. Who's gonna come to the tour? Yes, okay. I thought so. How does it feel to be back on stage after such a long time?
We don't know yet.
We haven't done it yet.
This is literally, the first time. Now, we've played one other show in Australia on New Year's Eve, so that's one show in 3 years. But yeah, tomorrow the first tour begins. The last tour we did was festival season in 2019, wasn't it? So yeah, it feels like a long time, and we did the record in between, but yeah, we're really excited to be back on stage again.
More walking sticks on stage now.
You'll warm up to it, I'm sure. Yeah. Maybe tomorrow, Leipzig, maybe walking sticks. But luckily you were able to use that time without touring to record a new album, which is also pretty decent, I think. Pretty decent pastime. How have you written and recorded this album, given that we were in so unique circumstances?
Oh my God, all right, everyone's got a story to tell about this. Where do we start with this one? All right, so we wrote an album. Finished, thank you, goodbye.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Very good night, thanks. No, we started writing, I think, 3 months into COVID when it first started, because we got bored and we realized that it wasn't going to stop anytime soon, so we just started writing music because tour was dead. And yeah, it was Ben and Jeff and myself, and we just jam songs and hang out when we were allowed to, when we weren't locked in our houses. And,
or when the surf was bad.
Yeah, the surf was really, really good in Australia. In Byron for 2 years, it was really, really good. So I don't know, it was a blessing and a curse, so it took us a long time to write a record. But yeah, we started writing, and it came together until basically when we could see that the idea of tour was going to happen again, we said, okay, we should record something. So that's when we started locking things in, and that's also when we went a little bit insane from a lot of time and maybe the pressure of trying to make a record. Yeah, so why don't you guys fill in the blanks?
Well, yeah, I'd just like to say, like, it was a really challenging time for all of us. For me personally, you know, the whole COVID experience was one thing. And then we had like our weather event, like all the flooding and stuff. And yeah, that made things really challenging as well. And for me, having a new family, finding that extra time to give, you know, to a record of this caliber, that was personally really hard for me. Yeah, that's kind of my part of it. It was tough.
Yeah,
it was really tough.
Yeah, at the start it was, as Winston said, because we weren't touring, every other record basically we'd written in between tours. Like we'd write for a few weeks and then go on tour, and then you'd focus on tour mode, and then you have a month or two off, you'd recover, then write for a little bit, and then it'd be kind of broken up. But because of the COVID situation, we kind of just as far as our effort and energy into the band, it wasn't mixed with touring, it was just recording, just writing. So at the start it was kind of a benefit not touring for sure, but then then it had its challenges. But I think we got to put more time into this record solely focusing on it. I feel without the deadline as well. So other ones, you know, you got to put it out before a tour, but this one we were just writing when we felt like writing, and it was, I think it was advantageous at the start for sure.
I think it's worth Luke chiming in here to understand what it took to actually make a record in Australia as well, because there's a different process for this record, which we normally fly to our producers in Canada and make a record. This time around, we couldn't leave Australia, so this man over here made all of that happen. So tell them how you went with that one.
Well, the start of COVID was kind of good for me and probably Pi, because the surf was pumping and these guys were just heavily riding. But then, it came time to organise getting it done, and it was, like Winston said, really difficult, as I'm not sure if you're aware how locked down Australia was, but it was pretty much impossible to get in or out. And our producer lives in the States, our engineer lives in Canada, but somehow with the right visas and a lot of money, we got them in and recorded
a lot of money.
Recorded the album, and
two plane tickets. How much was George and Dean's plane tickets?
$22,000 each for two of them, return.
Two people.
And they got on the flight. They had to fly business. It was the only way. And there was 6 people on the jumbo, on the whole plane. 6 of them.
And then they spent 2 weeks in quarantine prison in Australia just to make our record. So we owe them a massive thanks for making this record happen. They flew to Australia, went through prison time, and lived in our country for 4 months to make this happen.
And George has 2 kids and a family at home as well. So
yeah, nothing like
huge effort from them.
It's strange. The album started off seeming easy to write and became harder and harder and harder as it went on.
As well as the band was it was a pretty tense time. Right, sort of when we got to the studio and the pinnacle of tracking, basically. So I'm not sure if you can hear it in the music, but
it's dark.
Teensy bit.
Yeah.
What I felt was very interesting is like over the last couple of years, of course, you talk to bands and you ask them, how is this situation for you? And obviously it's horrible on so many levels, but I feel like most artists also say, well, it gave me really a break to kind of step back and just really think about what I'm doing and what it is I want to be doing, and really like just reset everything. Was that also the case for you? Like, what did it do with your mindset concerning the band and being an artist?
Yeah, definitely. With the album itself, it was the idea of the sounds was, this is the last album you get to make because COVID is endless. What do you want to make? This could be the last thing we ever get to create. So we're just like, fuck it, let's go crazy, and literally go crazy. Like we'd do 3 hours in the studio and leave, and then we'd come back the next day, and he's like, I did 10 hours in the studio after you left, and his eyes would be this big, and he'd like just be, so yeah, a
lot of time to overthink everything as well.
Yeah, but yeah, it shaped the record. You would have got a very different record if it had been any other time. So it is what it is, and that's what every record is. It's a picture, it's a snapshot of our life from when we start to when we finish. So this is just a dark, weird, unique time, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you have a vision when you went into writing and recording? Like, did you have an idea of what you wanted this to sound or feel like, or did you just saw what happened as you went along?
Yeah, not really. We didn't really have a vision at the start. I think we just started jamming to see what would come out. It usually takes us a while to like find our middle ground and find what's feeling good. We usually write a few kind of things that might not really work that well, and then we go in a different direction until we find something that's working, and then we usually get into a bit of a flow. That's what happened with this record. But yeah, the way we seem to write, it just takes us a long time. Like, it would be great if someone just walked into a room and said, this is the song, and then that's it. But we we'll have a song and then we work on it, we change it, we work on it and change it for about 2 years. And usually when you listen to the end song, it's completely different to how it started. And it's just the way that we seem to do it.
Process.
The process, because I guess it's one of those things with art and music, it's never finished. So you could just leave it, but you know you could make it better, so you keep making it better. And then you get to this weird point where you've worked on it for so long, you don't know if it's good or not, and then you're kind of making it worse. And then we've just got to tell Jeff, just stop working on it.
Yeah.
It's done.
It's baked. It's
And then he'll
finished.
just
10
come
steps
and
forward, 5 steps back.
Yeah.
But yeah, to answer your question, we just kind of let it flow, and it just kind of turned out this way.
Do you think it can also be a disadvantage having too much time?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Psychologically, yes.
Yeah, psychologically, massively. Because you do, that strange point you get to is the concept of better and just different. And when you're chasing an idea of like, it needs to be perfect, perfect changes with your perception. Yeah. So you just keep on working and working, and the new thing becomes good, and then it becomes boring, so you change and change.
So the worst thing for me is in the early stages of us developing a record, the studio we do it in is my house, and it's downstairs. So I'll be midway through my dinner with my family, and this is just how my brain works. I'll get an idea, and if I don't put that down on Pro Tools, it just vanishes like thin air. So I literally just get up, I say to my partner, be back in 5 minutes, go downstairs.
2 hours.
2-3 hours later, sometimes she just goes to bed, and yeah, it's all my food's still sitting there. So that's I guess what I've got to deal with, and mainly my family has to deal with. So yeah.
Yeah, I can attest to, like, there was one song which we redid after writing it, and he went away and worked on it for a whole bunch. And I came in the next day and we worked on it for a few hours, and we're like, this sounds pretty good, awesome, that'll be it. And he was like, I'll do a little change. And then 11:30 that night, I get a voice message from him going, I just finished the song and I'm in my car and I've driven down into the woods and I've got it turned up to like 11 and I think it's really fucking good, but I think I'm really, really tired and I've got no idea what I'm talking about.
That's true. That happened.
So yeah, that's where it gets to.
You've seen like the depths and abysses of the human psyche in that process,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
We are very much staring into the void a lot of the
A
time.
lot of emotions.
Well, I'm glad you made it back out to come to Berlin. At this point, I would really like to open up this discussion to the audience, because after all, this is a Q&A. So people in Berlin here, you can see right there in front a microphone. So if you have a question, don't be shy. We're all
Step
very
up.
nice people.
Who are you?
So you can just come up and ask a question. One thing I would like to offer the German audience is, if you feel more comfortable asking in German, I'm happy to translate that for you. I can unfortunately not offer that for any other languages at this point. And also, the lovely people on the live stream, you can also just send in your questions and I'll be reading them out. So yeah, don't be shy. We're happy to
I will be judging your vocal technique.
Yeah, just growling. This
is like the first time I've held a mic in a while.
Yeah.
As you can tell how loud I'm talking.
Jai has said a lot as well.
I think you got to cuff it.
I'll start the questions. Winston, do you have a favourite song on the record?
Oh,
Nice.
I didn't actually know this one was coming.
Did
Do you actually want to know that? Have I not told you?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't see each other enough.
Yeah. I actually like the title track. Title track's my favourite thing. So, yep. Took me a long time to learn how to sing, so it's nice. It's nice being able to sing.
And what about you, Jaya?
I agree. The title track's my favourite.
Yeah, boy. Thanks, buddy. All right, go for it. Thanks, Jaya.
I mean, what I will take over,
No one?
Take it
No,
on.
you can talk to us. Yeah, just...
It is a Q&A, no?
Do you need me to...
Hi. I don't actually have a question, but I just wanted to say thank you to you,
Oh, thank you.
because you just gone with me my way like for 13 years, and I feel like I grew up with you together and with the change of the music style. And thank you very much.
Oh,
Oh,
our
thank
pleasure.
you very
so
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Lovely to hear.
Ooh. Short for this.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for this event. It's really cool to listen to the album in advance and everything. I wanted to ask, the album is also like, it pays tribute to some of your like musical heroes. Have you ever met some of them in person, and how was that?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well,
I don't know.
Jeff's biggest musical heroes is Metallica, right? When we've literally played with nearly every band we've ever liked and every big band in the metal or rock scene, but we've for some reason never played with Metallica. We always are on festivals on different days. We've never met them.
That's disappointing.
What are you going to do when we do when you see him backstage?
Probably be really scared and hide.
Lemmy did walk into our dressing room once when he was around. That was a very interesting experience.
You mean heroes in the music world? Was heroes the word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Bad
It's-
Religion?
Sting. Remember the Sting encounter?
Yeah, there's a Sting encounter. That was interesting.
Was it
We got stung.
embarrassing, or was it like
They're not heroes, they're just cool.
nice?
I don't know. Well, here's a question. Does anyone in the band actually have musical heroes? Okay, other than Metallica.
And you just heard it.
Yeah. So I think it goes for all of us. We don't necessarily have heroes in bands. We just really like the music, and a lot of the time you find, or at least we've found, is you finally meet these people who have written the music that means so much to you, and they're just people.
Yeah.
Like you meet them backstage, and it's like, oh shit, like that's the person that wrote that song that like I grew up with my entire life, and then all of a sudden, it's a very humanizing thing to see that they're not 50 foot tall and just stomping around going, whoa, and it's like, they're going into the Portaloo as well. Interesting. So it's generally just I think an equalizing thing where you realize that all art and all the music that you create that resonates with you does come from a human rather than some god of some description, like a rock god. So I don't know if that's what everyone else feels, but for me, I found that. Like I've seen a lot of people who've made a lot of good music, and they all went to the same shitty Portaloo backstage at some festival.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, guys. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm very, very happy.
Where are you from?
I'm from Greece, from
Yeah.
Athens, Greece.
Oh shit!
Yes.
Very nice.
I would like to ask you basically two things. First thing is, like, I've heard Winston giving an interview on YouTube about how you came up with the intro of Darker Still. It was a very funny story, actually. It would be amazing if you share it with all the people here. And yeah, the second part is also about your vocals. How difficult would it be for you to handle your voice, like in live gigs, after 3 years?
Well, he didn't talk all day today. That's the first thing that happened.
Yeah. Yes, it's going to be very interesting because we've just done how many days of rehearsal? 4 days of rehearsal, and I've just been talking, and my voice is tired. So this is the first time I've spoken today. So I'll shut up tomorrow, and then hopefully when I get on stage tomorrow, it won't be. It will be okay. It's fine. It used to be fine, so I'm hoping it will be now. But if Jeff wants to tell the story about how the whistle for Darker Still came about, go for it.
You mean the writing or the whistler?
No, who was the whistler? The first
yeah.
whistler.
Yeah.
Wasn't it your
He
plumber
forgot.
mate or something?
I mean, that, the whistle melody, I did that on acoustic guitar first. That's how I first went. I thought that was kind of cool. And I was like, something different about this melody. And I was like, I wonder what this would sound like as a whistle. Anyway, I'm trying to do it on Pro Tools, and I'm like, right, no better than that. And I had this friend of mine over, and I was like, wait, you don't happen to know how to whistle, do you? And he's like, yeah, I do in the shower all the time.
Who was it?
His name's Ro. Anyway, that's relevant for now. But yeah, and basically, he kind of like half knocked it out of the park to some degree, and I was like, that's cool. So that's sort of how the beginnings of that came to part.
And then on the actual record, it was a even weirder story that we were in the studio for pre-production, and we thought we were all whistling this part, and we were all okay, but it wasn't like amazing. And we said, let's Google the best whistler in the world and see if they can whistle on our record. And I Googled it, and this girl, Molly, kept coming up. And she's like a early 30s looking girl. There was pictures of her with like Dr. Dre and different people. She was obviously in the big, the American scene. And we looked at her bio, and she was from a town 15 minutes away from where we live, a tiny little town called Mullumbimby. And we were just like, oh my God, she's from down the street. And then Luke got in contact with her and told her, and she said, yeah, I'm coming home from Christmas. So, I went to the same school as you guys. I'll be there. And
yeah, she went to school with my sister, actually.
Yeah.
Same year.
And so she's one of the best whistlers in the world, and she came into the studio and did this.
Did some whistles.
That amazing whistle solo you hear at the start of Darker Still is her just freestyling, really.
I can.
We'll try.
We'll have to wait and see.
Oh, yeah.
Let's have a whistle contest right now.
Oh, my voice is fine.
What do you think?
Can you? Yeah. Oh,
Not bad.
bit low.
Can anyone do better?
Yeah.
Put your hand.
And if you're really game, do it into the mic.
Winston's the best. Oh. Go.
Oh,
Come to the mic.
You've got volume.
Come to the mic.
Yeah.
Step up.
Tell you what, we're going to be relying on the crowd for that song. 'Cause
Yeah.
we'll be whistling, but we're hoping that everyone whistles too.
Yeah. I can do it.
We've got some work to do,
Kinda.
gang.
Yeah. Good effort, though.
Jaya, your
Appreciate
turn.
it.
Can't do it. It's hard.
Anyone else? Oh, she's sliding out.
Get up there.
It took you 3 questions. I saw you at the start. And you're like,
So first of all, happy belated birthday to you, Winston.
oh, thank you very much. Yeah.
40, turn 40.
And so you said that during COVID you were like in a flow, writing that album and all that, but did you struggle sometimes writing that album? And I wanted to know if you have some skills that help you through that period.
As in mental skills or writing skills?
Writing skills, maybe also, or maybe both.
Yeah, I think God, what do we do writing?
How do you deal with writer's block, basically?
Yeah.
It's a really good question, actually. Never really know. We always get through it. That's the thing.
Oh.
You said to me once, like when times get hard, it's more stimulating for your writing.
Oh yeah, for sure. For me, like writing words, I'd never hit writer's block when it just kind of happens. The same way that Jeff talked about, like it'll be the middle of dinner and he has to go and put something down. Like I constantly have my phone or a pad with me, and if there's like a phrase or something, I will just write it down. So I have this massive file of things that I find inspirational, like artwork, movies, soundtrack, words, things that have popped into my head that I will just be able to go back to. But when we're writing music, I think if we're not feeling it, we don't feel it. It's a really natural thing with us. We just kind of jam out. Like it's a really basic thing. We really do just go, feel like jamming, we should write some tunes, and either these 2 guys or all 3 of us or me and him will just go and work on little scraps of things until they start coming together. And I think they start as almost like 2 or 3 different members of the band having a different vision, which slowly draws together as you work on it more until it becomes the one vision. And that process takes some time, but we after 20 years, we know that it takes time. So we just give it time. When we run up against a wall, we're like, walk away, go for a surf.
It's kind of like speed dating. It's the energy's either
Yeah.
good and it's happening, or it's out of here.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come on down.
Hi. I have a related question to in regards to your voice. But first of all, thank you to being here. It's a really nice event. I really enjoy it, and your new album is incredible.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
The question is to you, Winston. How much time do you spend to train your voice, especially for the new song Darker Still?
20 years. Darker Still itself, it's strange for me because when I started doing this band, I screamed because I couldn't sing. I had no idea, no training, can't play guitar, can't play drums, just scream. Didn't know how to scream, just did it. And I would play like one show and then the next night, like, no voice. And over the years, it just worked, like clicked, I don't know, something about it worked. But I had always thought that my voice was destroyed from screaming. But after 10 years, I got a camera put down my throat to check my vocal cords out. And the doctor was like, you just keep doing what you're doing, it's all fine. So for me, I was like, wow, maybe I can do more. So I started learning how to sing. And I actually went to a singing coach to start with and was literally like, this is nothing else matters. One day I would love to be able to sing a song like this because it's completely different from anything I've done before. And that's kind of been a goal, to be able to sing a ballad. And couldn't do it on Aya, couldn't do it on Reverence, couldn't figure out how to write it, sing it, or anything like that. And this was the album which it was possible. So 10 years? Like, strange, but yeah, kind of 10 years it took me to learn how to do this record. Like, for real. It might be slow or fast, I'm not sure, but for me that's how long it's been, my vocal journey. I can still do all of the screaming stuff fine. That's kind of like just a walk in the park for me. It's all of the soft, strange stuff that I find very interesting that I try and work into now.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's the first time you sing a song completely.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's
trust me,
crazy,
it's crazy for me too. It was very, it's a big.
And
I hope you like it. Thank you.
And do we can have maybe a small sample live? Oh, come on!
You can if you're coming to the gig tomorrow night.
If you whistle first. Yeah, you whistle first.
If you nail that whistle 100%, maybe I can sing. But yeah.
So I need to go to Leipzig, yeah?
Yeah, maybe. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, I think I'm gonna continue with an online question.
Go for it.
Online question. Oh, there's a person.
Yeah, come over.
Come on up.
Crowd surf.
So I have a artsy question. I'm kind of artsy interested, and my question is, how did it come to the idea of the Roman mask in the cover?
Big, yeah, it's a good one. So artwork, generally, for the artwork for most of the albums, I find some artists or concept or something which is, I don't know, which matches the vibe or whatever I'm feeling about the art. This time around, I was inspired by a German artist called Hedy Zandt. Where's he from? Frankfurt?
Hamburg.
Hamburg. I knew it. I was like, Frankfurt, Hamburg. Shit, I said the wrong one. Sorry, Hedy. But I had seen his artwork and I wanted his representation of what he took from our music and the concept behind the feelings of the actual album, because I think now we have learned as well that I'm not a visual artist. I will trust a visual artist to take our vision and create something with their skill. And that's what he saw from it. It was a representation of the inside, the human soul being protected by the mask, but also being trapped by the mask. So that's what he presented to us. And when I saw it, I was like, yes, that's what this album is. So yeah, that's kind of where it came from. It was a combination of trusting that the artist knew what they were doing, but also that what we had inside the music would translate into a way that the two would connect.
So he made it for you just after listening and so.
Yeah, and I wrote down like a description of what the album was about, the themes of the album, like what was inspiring the album, what the songs were based around, because there's quite a theme through the entire album. And then he came back with sketches and the ideas that he had for it, and from there we just went forwards, him and his team.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, it was very, very cool. For us, it's awesome because we can't make that. We can do the music, but we can draw on a napkin, but that's it. And we're very lucky to be able to have such talented people create something so awesome to match our music.
That's pretty cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Two people.
Two.
Oh boy.
Form a line, people, form a line.
I'm a little small too.
There we go.
I wanted to know. I wanted to know what was your inspiration to write an album which is darker than the last albums you made.
Yeah. Firstly, the music, I think very early on when we were writing, one of the things we said was we were talking about what we were going to do, and we all said more, like we weren't going to go backwards, we were going to go more adventurous. Like it'd still be Parkway Drive, but the idea was not to step back from the extra things which we were doing. The music we make, Jeff very early on realized that like every time we try and make something sound too happy, it doesn't really work. Like the happy songs we put out, like they just don't sound right. Like we're happy people, but this is like the tone of what we do is dark. That's what it is. And for me, the theme of the entire album was, it was written like this is a dark period to be alive. Like it just is. It's very challenging for every single person on the planet, and you just can't ignore it. The album itself, like the title "Darker Still," is a follow-on from where I left Reverence, and Reverence was like a real, like, dark point in my life. But it was also a point of change and finding something new in the world. And the thing that captivated me was the idea that the further you go in life, it doesn't necessarily become lighter. It becomes more complicated and it becomes darker. The deeper you love, the more you have to lose. And that is where the fear and the challenge of life becomes. And the further you go in life, the closer you get to that. Like when you're born, it's very simple. You know nothing and you're protected by love. And the more you learn about the world, the harder it becomes. So it grows darker. Life grows darker still. But it doesn't mean it's bad. It just becomes more complicated. And the darkness is just as valuable as the light. You need the shadow. Otherwise, you're just blind. That's right.
Yes, please.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
My question sort of relates to the previous question. Considering the heavier themes of the album, I was wondering if, like, besides what is going on in the world, if there were other influences, like literary influences or something like that. Because, for example, in Greater Sphere, I sort of thought of Edgar Allan Poe, for example. Yeah.
Then Nevermore?
Yeah.
All right. Yes, but The Simpsons.
Oh. As an English major, I am very disappointed.
Yeah, no. Okay, yeah. It fully is, but it's 100% Bart as the Raven going, nevermore, nevermore. So there's, I take like literary influence from lots and lots and lots of things. Like it's just as much pop culture and cartoons as it is pop music and music in general and poetry and just writing or philosophy or novels or anything like that. It all just kind of seeps in, and that's part of the fun that I have, is just like weaving like some high-pitched piece of prose with like a Simpsons reference, and making it go in the middle where it kind of makes sense, and people are just like, yeah, that's really cool. And I'm like, well, it's kind of
Guess what the real meaning is.
Yeah, guess what the real meaning is? It's from two opposite ends of the spectrum, and you probably would never pick that. So that's the fun that I have with it.
Okay, now online question. I'm
All right.
sorry, all the people online. We're just very talkative in Germany today,
Yeah.
which is new.
Yeah.
It's been building up for 3 years. We just have to get it out. There's one question I think I know the answer to, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I will explain in a second, which is which was the most difficult song for you to write on this record?
Oh, that's actually a pretty good one, because there's a lot of difficult ones, isn't there? Because it's different. It's Winston's being the sole lyricist of the band. He has his own challenges that sometimes we don't even know about. Like, he writes certain lyrics, but from Jeff and I's perspective, like, we could write music that comes easy, and then Winston could write lyrics that take him a long time, or vice versa. So there's different challenges in different ways. But sometimes it's all a challenge, and like, we change the song, so he's got to change the phrasing, so change the vocals, and then it all just, everything changes. But which ones gave us the most?
Glitch, wouldn't it be?
Glitch.
Just because it changed so much.
Yeah, it's funny because you listen to that song, and it seems, in hindsight, you just think, yeah, why wouldn't you just write that straight away? Because it's obvious. But like, for us to get to that point.
That was the first song we started writing.
Yeah.
It was the first song we started writing, like the last song we finished. And when we finished, we were like, fuck, that's a simple song. Why did it take 2 years to write that?
Yeah, that's the thing. we say, like, in interviews, like, that was the hardest song, we did this, we did that. And everyone must just listen to it. Jesus, nothing that doesn't sound that difficult.
This is what happens when you don't learn how to actually write music at school. Like, we still don't know how to read music or know musical theory or anything. We literally just jam until we have a song. And sometimes that works really well, and sometimes it means you have a song which is sticking in your side like a thorn for 2 fucking years.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like what we said before. It's easy for us because we've been in this band for so long. Like, it'd be easy to write what we perceive as an average record. Like, we could whip up a record in a month of just, mediocre songs, but to make a record of the standard that we're trying to, get to, and that we like to really push ourselves, that's what makes it difficult. Because, like I said before, like, the first rendition of Glitch, which is a totally different song, if we just said, yeah, that's good enough, it would have been easy, but to like push it and get to where we're happy with, it just takes a long time.
I think one of the steps is we don't settle for comfort. Like, that's why every record ends up sounding a bit different and more different than the previous one in bigger steps now, is because more often than not, the first time we write something, it will be similar to something that we've already been playing around with because there's muscle memory. And it's something that we're familiar with writing, so it'll sound kind of like a song that we already enjoy playing. And from there, we automatically try and go somewhere different. And then as soon as we're going somewhere different, then you're just down like this rabbit hole. And it's just up to the imagination, basically, because you'll think something's awesome one day, and then the next day you'll walk in and just go, nah, that's shit. And then that can happen over and over and over again, and it's very rare. I think there's one song which we've probably ever written that was kind of like almost, we started it and we finished it, and that was kind of it. And that's once we split Ground Zero and Glitch into 2 different songs. Yeah. And we had Ground Zero, and that was written and that was kind of done. And that's probably the shortest song we've ever done as well, which is strange. That song kind of we wrote and we're like, sick, awesome. So Glitch and Ground Zero were originally one song, like smooshed together. And it didn't work, and we pulled them apart. One of them was very easy to write. The other one took as long as 2 songs.
You see, I would have thought you would say Darker Still, because, it's so far out there for you. And it's also a very long song. I think the longest song you've ever recorded.
Yep.
Right. And I keep coming back to that song in my head because there's so many levels where I'm just like, it makes total sense for me why that is like the title track of your record, because it really tells me where you want to go and where you're at this point. And what I really thought was really cool was I was looking through YouTube comments for the song, and you kind of mentioned in the past that, you know, the Black Album is kind of a record you kind of look to as, you know, that's a great fucking record. And I was like, yeah, I see that. I see where you're going with this. And then a lot of people online were like, Darker Still kind of reminded them of Nothing Else Matters or The Unforgiven in terms of the vibe. So first of all, I mean, what makes the Black Album such a great record for you personally as artists, and what do you do to kind of, you know, make your own Black Album?
It's a very interesting one because that is like the constant thing that's asked of every single band. Is this your Black Album?
Is it your Black Album?
It's a marker, which is very interesting. But I'll say this about all of the, like most of the influences that we had on this album. A lot of it was to do with the 90s. Like it was to do with the tone before everything became really, really, really digital. We wanted to make something that wasn't a throwback of vintage sound, but also wasn't completely like, it still had to have the sound quality. But that album was fearless in what it did. The Black Album was fearless. Like that Metallica wrote something which people literally bought and threw on the ground in piles and burned and smashed out of protest of what it was, and went on to be seen as one of the greatest things ever made because of the fearless nature of it. And if you ever that's the way to approach it. Like that's the way to approach art. Like art is supposed to fuck with people. Yeah. Like it has to. If you're creating something which people listen to the first go and are just like, yeah, everything is perfect. Like they're gonna forget it straight away. It has to be a challenge in some way. And sometimes, like for a band like us, it's interesting. The challenge has been almost less confrontational. We started out at just volume 11 all of the time, and slowly but surely, like it's about dialing it back and turning it around, and that's where the confrontation is in the slower parts and the weirder parts, and doing things which people don't expect. And I think when people expect it to be all on 11, all of a sudden there's a challenge there. And this entire album was about dialing in the anthemic nature, the Parkway nature, and all of those challenging parts together into one cohesive thing. So what do you reckon?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the main thing for me with the Metallica thing is they're just incredible musicians. You know, there's a reason why they got where they did. It's because they were the best, you know, at that point in time. And yeah, I'm obsessed with them. Anyone that's read a magazine probably know that by now. But yeah, you know, all those tracks on that album are incredible. Nothing Else Matters. Yeah, definitely inspirational. So yeah, I basically listen to that and think, well, I wonder how I can do something like that, but a Parkway Drive version of it, amongst our, with our own flavours and inspirations as well. And yeah, somehow we did that, and hopefully it's good, but that's up to you guys to decide.
But related to what you said about slowing things down, being more experimental, there's one online question. That is, do you feel like you're growing out of heavy music?
No, I don't think that's actually possible for us. It all depends. Like, are we as heavy as we originally were? Well, we're definitely not as intense. It's not just running adrenaline. But every time we write a record, it's like, well, what's it based on? Like driving drums, distorted guitars, and for all of the clean singing that I would ever do, it's still going to be aggressive because that's what this outlet is. Like for me, I'm the smiley, happy person you see on stage, and I'm in front of you now, and then I get to go into the studio and just go skits. And that's what I love about it. It's an outlet for me. Like it's a really positive thing. I think it's a really positive thing that metal and like alternative music in general gives people that I don't think we realise. Like, it's physically an outlet, and I'm sure if anyone here has ever been in a band, they know how fucking awesome it is to be able to get out in front of a mic and just let all of that go. So will we ever grow out of heavy music? I really, really doubt that.
The other thing I want to say on that as well is, funnily enough, a huge drive, for me at least, for writing this music is the energy the crowd gives us at small shows, huge festivals, whatever these shows are. It's straight up addictive. It's like crack. Like playing in front of a bunch of crazy
You are like crack.
guys. Yeah, I mean, playing in front of everyone, it's a pretty incredible feeling, you know. Feeding off, you know, everyone's energy, yeah, it's highly addictive, and it's a part of the drive to make a new record, to be honest.
Yeah.
Would you say that's the Parkway drive?
Time for Dad to go home. Bye-bye, Dad.
Very good contribution, thank you. You may leave the stage. Yes, you have questions? Please.
Come on up.
Hello. I went to Australia, like I was living there for 2 years, and once I went to Byron Bay, and then I thought, okay, I'm here now, so I should search for the Parkway.
You stole the sign, didn't you?
No.
You can't stole it.
You're the reason the post didn't arrive that week.
No. No, I was searching for it, and I heard that you did this fence around it because it was always stolen. And so I want to know what's the situation now.
There's no street sign? There's no street sign, right? It's just on the road?
Didn't they paint it on the road? And then that's gone? Because people were lying on the road to get a photo with the painted thing.
Yeah, so the sign kept getting stolen. My parents still live there, so I go and visit them every week or two. And the sign kept getting stolen for years and years, and the council kept replacing them. And then one day they just got angry with us and they just stopped replacing the sign. They used to put it up higher, people would steal it, they made like reinforced steel, and somehow people would come with metal grinders and steal it and grind it off. And then they stopped replacing the sign, and then some of the residents, you know, guests would come to their house and not know how to get there, so they wrote Parkway Drive on the street, and people would lay down, really big, people would lay down and nearly get hit by cars. And then they got potholes, so they just put tarmac over it, and now there's just no sign. They've given up, but luckily there's Google Maps these days, so no one can really get lost. But Parkway Drive, the street, does not have a sign and hasn't.
What about the other end? Because there's 2 entrances to Parkway Drive.
Yeah, it's stolen as well.
That's supposed to be secret.
Yeah. So.
What did your dad do?
Oh yeah, my dad years ago made signs, and he thought it was going to be the biggest merch thing ever, and then he ended up just taping the signs up when it got stolen, but they kept getting stolen as well, so he gave up. I think he's still got a few left though.
If anyone wants one to raise custom-made Parkway Drive signs.
Yeah, I still think it'd be a good idea. Who would want a Parkway Drive sign in their room? Yeah.
Okay, all right.
My dad was onto it.
He was onto it, like 15 years ahead of his time.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, I have a question. When you're working on a new album and you're in your writing process, how is it when you write like 10 or 11 songs, you're like, oh, stop it, we have enough? Or do we have any unreleased songs behind closed doors?
We don't write like that. So
laughing.
most people do that. Most people write like 30% more songs than you need, and we always struggle.
Yeah, it's like, I'm laughing because I'm like, fuck, imagine having spare songs. Yeah. No, so the way we kind of do it, because we do not, like, we got friends in other bands who are like, oh, we have 30 songs for this album, pick the 10 best. We write an album. We start piecing things together at the start, a few pieces of music. It starts out as, say, 5 songs, which you're just having fun playing around with. from those 5 songs, you get a feel of how the album, like the softest to the heaviest, like the flow kind of thing. And from there, we start thinking, okay, we have these sounds. What other sounds do we want to put in the record? Well, we want to do something that takes us to this area. So we'll start working on a song kind of like that. And once you have a rough idea, then we start filling in the spaces. And it's more for us about writing. Well, it's definitely all about writing just an album from start to finish. And there's nothing, we don't focus on anything extra. There's never any focus on like, and then there's this other song which might get thrown onto the end. Basically, once we have this rough outline of an album, we just start really colouring it in, tweaking it around, shuffling things around, seeing what songs feel best next to each other, and then changing them in context and stuff like that. So basically, at the end of the day, when we go into a studio, all we have is that album, and that's it. There's never anything extra.
No secret songs.
No secret songs, sorry. Yeah.
Well, I think the reason is that we never have extra songs is because we do sometimes start songs, and if we know there's no hope for it, we just stop.
Yeah, we just
like,
stop.
It's just like, no, this got no hope. We don't, because there's no point in working on a song that you don't think's going to make it. So it's we just stop, and then so we've got a graveyard full of almost songs, but they never got finished because we just realised the idea wasn't
NFTs.
Good.
Yeah. Parkway's shit songs, NFTs. Yeah.
So there's a lot of like unfinished songs. And
Oh yeah.
like, oh, that's bullshit.
No, yeah, basically.
Oh, okay.
But they generally, they're not full songs. They end up as like 2 or 3 riffs, a drum pattern, like a vocal chorus, something like that, and then it just doesn't work. It's not Parkway. Like, it's just kind of just something that just doesn't jive.
We just kind of know. Like, we all just
We
look
know?
at each other usually and just, we basically just say, look, this isn't feeling right, Like, if the energy's not right, we all know. No one usually stands up, this song's going to be the one. There's not this, like, last hurrah. It's like, no, this song ain't working. So.
But we've always had the attitude, though, is everything's worth a shot. Like, if someone's got an idea, it's worth pursuing, because you never know. Sometimes a crazy sounding idea can turn into something really good and morph, and a lot of times, like, a particular idea, like, I remember one of the songs on the record was I was walking from my bedroom to another room. I got my electric drum kit, and I just sat down and played this drum beat, and it was like a weird beat, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I took it to Jeff, and we started making a song out of it, and then it changed so much. The song is on the record, but that drum beat didn't even make it in the song because it changed. But the whole thing changed. But like, that idea sparked an idea which sparked the song. Yeah. So it's like, you just gotta, if you have an idea, it's just, you gotta go with it. But sometimes it leads to a song, sometimes it just fizzles out. So
we actually have, like, occasionally we will go back, like when we start a new album, and we'll have the skeletons of the old songs and stuff, and we can hear the first version of a song that got to like something on an album, and you listen to it and you're like, oh my God, this is how it started. And you can see that song and then the 30 different versions of that song that it took to get to the final song. And most of the time we're like, oh my God, fuck, that was shit. but yeah, that's kind of the way it works. That's like, you look at the music and you're like, oh, I understand why that never made it to an album form. But it's about creating the steps for us.
We're kind of like bad scientists. We're just trial and erroring until something works.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
That's all right. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
First of all, I am super, super happy to meet you. Actually, I honestly am not very much of a metalhead. I am married to this guy, and
So you are.
He's a keeper.
Yeah.
He even has a tattoo. I don't want to reveal anything else. And actually, our first date was to your movie. I think it was like a movie of around a tour in South America or something.
Oh, nice.
I just want to ask you, what new advices do you have for what advices do you have for the new metalcore bands that they are trying to get into the scene and basically become somebody like you?
That's a really hard question. because it's a really, like, COVID basically fucked everything up. Like, there's a couple of things, and I've said this many times over the years, and I think it's still true. Number one, play what you love playing. At the end of the day, like, if you enjoy doing what you do, that is what this is about, and that is what translates to the audience. We play in this band and make the music we do because we love it, and I genuinely believe that our connection to what we make creates the connection, the honest connection with fans. If you fake it just because you think, oh, I'm going to become the next Parkway Drive, like, it just won't work straight away. Number two is, if you do want to do this as a career, be prepared to work a lot, because all of us in this band, as well as just playing the music on stage, work our asses off doing everything else, like a lot of the shit behind the scenes to make this work, because you need to do that simply to survive as a band. And if you don't do that, that will stop you as well, because, I mean, that's what touring is. And the last one is talk to each other. And I think that's what we've learned over the last few months, is like, support each other, actually properly support each other, and like, be kind to yourselves, because if you combine all of those things together, that's like, that will bring genuine happiness, and that will be exactly what takes you forward as a band, because it will come from a genuine place. It's not about like what the trendiest thing is, the heaviest thing, the fastest thing, the weirdest thing, or anything like that. That's all just sound. At the core of it, it has to just be genuine human art and the work behind it.
Great, thanks.
I hope that's okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, on the way here, Winston said, "Can you guys answer all the questions, because I want to save my voice for the show tomorrow."
For real, for real.
Yeah, she mentioned the movie, and now I have got blackout because I'm a little nervous. Sorry.
It's okay.
You do the whistle.
Speak in Deutsch.
Just do the whistle. Just do the whistle.
Whistle, yeah.
Yeah, I was whistling. Right, I wanted to know if there was any point during making this album where you were like, okay, COVID's gonna fuck it up, we're not gonna have enough money, we're never gonna tour again. Like, have you had this point where you thought, okay, that it's the end?
Kinda. Not the end, but it definitely was like, we were in a very interesting position before COVID started, where we just put out like the Viva the Underdogs movie, and all of a sudden COVID hit, and we're like, well, we have something out there that people can at least experience while this goes on, because everyone thought like, COVID, yeah, that'll be like 2 months and you'll be back on the road. But yeah, we were actually planning on we'd been going for 17 years straight at that point in time, and we'd planned on taking a year off just to like decompress, like literally take our first break ever. So when COVID hit, we're like, okay, we'll just shift that time frame, and we'd kind of accounted for that. So we're actually quite lucky as a band in the way that we had already built up enough of a buffer and enough of a career legacy, like thanks to you guys supporting us, that I think if it had happened a year before, we probably would have been fucked. And for real, like this, like COVID has killed so much of the music scene. Like the art scene, I'm not sure what it's like in Germany, but in Australia, it is the first thing in terms of government funding or support or anything that gets chopped, let alone touring bands or metal bands or rock bands or anything like that.
Because I remember in Viva the Underdogs, you said that you, like, all the money you earned, you directly burn it.
Yeah, directly, literally, but yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, how did you guys manage to last?
No, we went okay. We had planned for all of that stuff. But we've had like, we definitely can't complain. We're a very large band as it is, and we live in a very amazing place in the world. So COVID was actually like, in comparison to a lot of friends' bands that I saw go through with it, we're in a really, really good position. But we were lucky ones, like where there's a lot of people in this industry, a lot of bands that you won't get to see again because of this and because they didn't have the support, or they never got to reach. Like, it took us 17 years to be able to reach a spot that when a pandemic happened, it didn't kill our band. Like, that's pretty nuts.
And we're lucky that you're here.
Oh, yeah. Well, feelings mutual. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another one.
Hi guys. First
Hello.
of all, I'm very excited to see you tomorrow in Leipzig. And my question is, for a few years, you worked together with Casper to transform 3 of your songs into the German. And my question is, could you imagine to work together with another band to produce maybe some new songs?
Or German songs?
Or German songs?
Maybe Greek songs? Yeah. That was a really fun experience. Doing that. We're like probably the least collaborative band in history, to be honest. Yeah. Like, we really don't, like, I've done guest vocals on Friends albums and that's it, and just for Friends. Like, it's a very weird dynamic between the 3 of us of we kind of just write together. But I don't know, I've actually never asked anyone in this band, who would you like to work with?
Oh, we're completely open to it, of course. It's just, we don't really like forcing things or...
But who would you actually like to work with?
As in
dream collaboration.
Put me on the spot. I'm a fan of just doing different things. I can't really think of what I would
That's
dream
right.
of, but like, rather than being someone in the metal world, that could be good. But I don't know. I think it's also we've just been limited over the years. But yeah, I think now we'll put it out there and say we'd love to work with other artists. But whatever comes
You
our
got
way.
anyone?
Like Winston said, that's true. We've never really talked about it. And I think I'm such a control freak, I wouldn't like it. Yeah.
Pig, dream collaboration for Parkway.
No idea.
Jaya?
I'd have to learn how to play my instrument first.
Oh, get out of here. Come on.
He's actually really good.
He's actually great. He talks himself down, but he's actually a really fucking good bass player. And I'm going to say that on stage and live on YouTube.
Give it up for Jaya. everyone.
Woo! Thank you for asking the awkward question.
You can always try Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hi. You just mentioned you went very big in the last years and at least had saw the chance to get through COVID and all this shit. When did you realize that you're really getting big and could be the next big thing in the metal scene or even in the rock area? Was there a special event, or when just did it grow in that direction for you?
Good question.
I feel like it was...
We've been slow growers.
Yeah, we've been slow growers.
There hasn't been one crazy event.
Growers, not showers.
Yeah. I think, to me, I think all of us, when we headlined Wacken 2019...
That was it for you?
That was when we were actually doing it. Like,
Yeah,
that was like,
actually
we were playing to 100,000 people. It's the biggest metal festival in the world. We're headlining it. And that was for me when I was like, wow, it's actually happened. And it felt right that we were there. And that was just a moment to me where it kind of, my perception of the band changed and was like, wow, we're a big band.
We've actually had very small perceptions of what this band is capable of for a very, very, very long time. In Australia, we have this thing called the tall poppy syndrome. Do you guys know what that is? You have it here? All right, it's a thing in Australian culture where if you believe in yourself and you think you can do something and you say it out loud and you say, I think I'm pretty good, people just go, you're a wanker.
Not Winston.
Yeah. And the idea is that if the flower grows, if the poppy grows, it just gets its head cut off by everyone else. So you learn not to believe in yourself because you're just going to get cut down. And we have all like had that mentality for a very long time. We always thought it was just luck. We play it because we love playing, and we do exactly what we do. We're like honestly expecting the next tour to fail, or it just to be luck and to be luck. But like for me, about, I don't know, 10 years ago, I was like, come on, this can't be luck. Like it's just we love what we do. Let's just kind of own it. It wasn't just one event. It was like 10 years of life, and you're like, this isn't bullshit. This is real. People are like, for us to put it down to luck is a disservice to the fans that are feeling the genuine connection, because it is there, and that's why it has grown. And I think that I don't see a limit for what it can be, because it hasn't been limited so far. It's never gone backwards. Every connection that we've had has been genuine, and it just continues to grow. It seems like anyone that listens will eventually come to a show and take something away from it, which is cool. It's not necessarily about going like the biggest or the best or the new thing or anything like that. I just don't see a limit to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and also just we haven't really ever had expectations. You know, we've never been like, we deserve to be here at this point in time. You know, we've done this record, we should be here. You know, we've always just taken everything as it comes, which is kind of a bit of a superpower, because if you do the opposite and you're like, we deserve this, we deserve that, you know, you just feel that down. You just, you know, get bummed out. So that's been helpful.
At one point, you just decided to set your stages always on fire.
Everything on fire. Yeah.
After we saw Rammstein.
Yeah. See Rammstein, burn everything, problem solved. Yeah. Yeah.
So you just talked to Black Box and went through a catalog and choose everything?
Oh yeah, that's it. We have the Pyro catalog, and we're just like, I will take one of everything. Awesome.
Even Winston's shirt.
Yeah, even like I'm wearing the fire now, so this is where we're going. Yeah. No, it's all just been a growth thing. Like it's.
Actually, I miss the drum cage.
You miss the drum cage?
Yeah, we'll bring it back.
still have it.
We'll bring it back.
We've still got it. We just want to do different things, but when you least expect it,
bam, drum cage.
Expectations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Danke dir.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hey guys. So I've been listening to your music, coming to your shows for like
Aussie.
15 years.
Hey,
where are you from?
So Melbourne. It's been sick to see you guys come up through the Australian scene, and congrats on where you are now. Congrats on the new album. It's really good to see the world has woken up. I just wanted to ask a slightly negative question. See like kind of bigger bands like you guys, Bring Me the Horizon, Architects. As you have been around for so long, your sound obviously changes and seems to cop like a fair bit of negativity from metal elitists and that kind of thing online. So I guess my question is, that's a lot easier said than done to just ignore it. How does that sort of affect you on a personal level? How do you keep that out of the writing process?
Fuck them, man. Don't like our music. Fuck you. No. Yeah, critics. Damn critics. No, we've got basically we have a very simple formula for what we, like our quality control. It's been the same now as it was when we started. Do we enjoy writing it? Do we enjoy playing it? Do we enjoy listening to it? If it ticks all of those boxes, we know that like that's all you can go on. As far as like what people take away from what we do, I mean that's all personal perception. Like I'm not going to begrudge someone going, I loved something that you've done and now you sound completely different, which is true in itself. That you have to like both things equally. Like I'm not like that. I wouldn't expect that from someone else either. I think you'd be fucking mad if you just expected uniform praise or acceptance of something you created just because it's got your name attached to it. Like people have expectations and attachments to things that you create because obviously it's had that much of an impact on them, which is a really awesome thing in the first place. And if they never get that impact again, that's cool. I'm humbled that they even got that from us once, which is nuts. And one last thing on that as well is, from an inside of the band perspective, every single thing we have ever done has had the exact same reaction. You put out an EP with Prom Queen when you start, like a 2-song split, and people are like, sick. Then you bring out a 6-song EP and they're like, songs aren't as good as the Prom Queen 2 songs. Yeah. Then you bring out an album after it and they're like, oh, I like the Don't Close Your Eyes EP better. And it's what it is, because as soon as you create something of comparison, there's going to be a comparison for better or worse, and that's just personal choice, and that's cool.
I reckon one of the main things as the creators is what a lot of people don't understand for us is, if we were to try and revisit a specific sound that we were feeling both vocally and musically back then, if we tried to mimic that, it would not work, because we just generally aren't feeling it, you know? It wouldn't come across as genuine.
Yep, that's it. There's literally, we have evolved very naturally in sound, because essentially we write some songs, play them several hundreds of times, and then you're like, I kind of want to play something different now, because that sound is I'm not going to say worn out, but it's become too familiar, so you change.
Well, not to mention the fact that it's kind of tarnishing. If you try and do the throwback thing to the specific sound and vibe, it's kind of tarnishing the original record in my view. It's never sort of crossed my mind to sort of even go down that route.
So there won't be a Horizons 2.
Yeah.
If that's your question.
I'm out.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool though.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Super negative. Noted. I will remember your face.
That was a great question.
Okay, so let's lighten it up a little bit. So I'm basically also not a metal fan, but because of my boyfriend here, I'm here.
Thank you very much.
Good boyfriend.
Welcome.
So I might as well come to one of the shows.
Yeah.
And I probably will. So what is the thing you most look forward to on the tour, aside from the shows?
Catering.
I'm actually really happy just to be back in Germany and Europe, because we've been we've been coming to Europe, and Germany is the biggest, our biggest market in Europe. We'd say we've spent the most time here because it's a big country, since we were teenagers, and then we haven't been here for 3 years. So even just this last week we've been rehearsing kind of in the middle of nowhere. But I've just been walking around every morning, seeing the German, architecture and just this friendly people. It's obviously a beautiful time of the year.
Apple trees.
It has been, the apple trees and fruit trees and the all the food and everything. It's just really nice to be back in Europe, because in Australia it's obviously beautiful where we live and we have beaches and everything, but we don't have as much, let's say, culture as far as the the buildings and the cathedrals and stuff that you have in Europe. So it's just a different feel over here, and I'm really excited to be back over here. And of course, the best part of Germany is the people. So thank you for having us.
For real.
Welcome back then.
It's literally our favourite place to tour, to be honest.
Sorry, YouTube, anyone that's not watching from Germany.
They don't mean
we also like your places.
So I have one more question from the chat that I would throw at you to finish this off, because we're approaching the 90-minute line
90
already.
minutes? Holy shit.
So if somebody from the audience has one last question they really need to have answered tonight, now you
come on down. Unless we just do it real quick.
It's a long shot. Oh, do you
no
bring your
pressure.
Dog? Is that your pup?
That's a dog.
Oh,
please hand the dog over.
Hello.
Oh my god.
Yes.
What a cutie.
Hola. That's whiskey. I just have a short question that probably interests a lot of the audience. Will you be able to sign this very nice vinyl you put out today, later on?
Ooh, that shit.
9.
Damn.
I don't think we can because of COVID. For real, it's been, that's probably the shittiest part of it as well, is we've been able to come back to Germany, but like we have a list of things to do with COVID to make sure that this tour actually happens.
But we're in Berlin.
Yeah. Maybe we'll figure out all of this stuff at some point in time. But like
we're doing a signing in Leipzig.
Yeah, I think we're in like a cube
Not
or something
tomorrow.
like that. Oh, I can't say no to that face.
Whiskey is so sad
Whiskey
now,
is
he
so
was
sad.
Oh.
I need my signature.
Yeah, sorry, man. We actually wanted to do meet and greets and different things, but we just, COVID. If someone gets COVID, it can jeopardize the tour.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Whiskey.
understanding.
Yeah, it's been different for all of us. I got it and I felt kind of okay. And at the same time, Luke got it and I was talking to him and he's like, I've been on the ground in front of a heater for 3 days. I can't move. So, yeah, we're taking it really seriously because if someone gets it and it's bad, we literally have to shut the whole tour down and go back to Australia, and we don't want that one. Wow, that was a bummer.
That was. I'd better save it with the last.
Thanks for the
question now.
bummer question, man.
But thanks for the dog.
Make us look
Dog was
bad.
lovely.
Final question: what's your favourite teddy bear, Jaya? It's lighten the mood. No, no. Is there you got
Here's
another
a
one?
final question.
Yeah.
Final question. From the chat, thank you to the chat, first of all. You
Yeah, thanks,
were
chat,
very
thanks.
active, and I've seen you, and lovely. So the last question is, if Darker Still would be your last record, God forbid, what would you want to be remembered for?
Doing exactly what we wanted to do when we wanted to do it on our own terms. That's it.
Amen.
I saved it. I saved it. Okay, that was
Also
quick and
steam
easy,
boating.
right?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming.
Thank you all. Thank you
you,
everyone
guys.
for having us. It's thanks everyone on the chat, wherever
you.
the camera is.
Thanks, guys.
It's really great to be back in Germany. It's really great to be back outside of Australia. Thanks, Shen. Have a great night, and see you at a gig. Gessen.
Woo, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to everyone here. That was really great. I just have a quick announcement. Thank you. Thank you. That's lovely. Just a quick announcement for people here. You have still got 10 minutes to enter the raffle at the merch booth, and then afterwards we'll pull the winner. I can also say it in German now. Ihr habt noch 10 Minuten, euch in die Liste einzutragen. Sorry, everybody online. Ihr habt noch 10 Minuten.